Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Crawford. This is day 4 notes on rotations, and it was done on the block day this week. Remember, rotation is when you turn an object. You're not going to change the size or the shape of it, just the way it's turned. Rotations tend to be the trickiest one out of all of them, to be honest. So I'm going to give you guys a couple options of how to do these problems, so make sure you pay close attention and rewind if you need to. Reminder, quiz on Friday this week. It's going to be on the transformations section, so translations, rotations, and reflections will all be on there. First of all, let's kick off with our rules. So these rules are kind of like a code for rotations, and they can be a little tricky if you haven't dealt with them yet, but once we go over them, hopefully that'll give you a little bit more clarification. So let's pick a point. I'm going to pick a point in the second quadrant. Oops. Let's go with -4, 3. It's right there. And I just picked a random point. It's nothing special about it. So each of these kind of things are sort of like this code. And once we break the code, we know how to rotate as long as we can see the code. So if I start with -4, 3, and I want to rotate it 90 degrees, remember we always go counterclockwise, so we're going this way, so somewhere in this quadrant. If you look at the code, it goes from x, y to -y, x. So you'll notice that the x and y switch spots. Oops, can't write here. And the first number has a negative sign in front of it. Now I want to be careful with that negative sign. Really what that means is change it to the opposite sign. Don't just assume that everything's going to become negative. So in order to rotate 90 degrees, I have to switch these two numbers, and then the first number is going to change its sign. So I'm going to put a first change. My handwriting is really bad right now with this. So if I rotate this point 90 degrees, first of all, just switch the two numbers. Don't do the signs yet. So all I'm doing is switching 3 and -4. Just change their spots was all I did. The first number, which is right here, is going to change its sign. What's the opposite of 3? -3. So -3, -4 is what happens when I rotate that point 90 degrees. Let's do the same thing with 180. We'll start again with -4, 3. And you'll notice this one, they don't switch spots. X and Y are still in the same position, but both of them are going to change their sign. It's going to be the opposite sign for both. So instead of -4, it'll be +4. And instead of 3, it'll be -3. So 4, -3 ends up right there. That's 180 degrees rotated around the origin. 270 is another tricky one, so let's do that in blue. -4, 3. You'll notice again that the X and Y have switched positions, but this time it's the second spot that changes its sign. So they switch, and this time it's the second one. So again, just start by switching. When you've got the 90 or the 270, don't try and do two things in one step. So I'm just going to start with 3, -4, just switching their spots. The second one, see right here, is going to switch its sign. So instead of -4, it's going to become +4. So 3, 4 ends up being right about there. That's 270 degrees, or 3 turns around the origin. You'll notice 360 looks exactly the same as the original, because if you go around 360 degrees, you get back to your original spot, okay, which is kind of nice. It ends up right back where it started. So something I do want to point out. So let's get rid of these guys. And I'm going to lock, let's see if it'll let me do it. Ooh, it will let me do it. Okay. Let's see if we can experiment with this a little bit. There we go. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm grouping these guys together so that when I rotate it, it will turn with it. Now, that's one option you can do, is you can follow these rules to rotate. What other thing you can do is literally rotate your paper. Now remember, we're always going counterclockwise, so you're always going to turn your paper to the left. 90 degrees would be one turn to the left like this. There we go. It's being kind of finicky about turning. Okay. And if I look, it's in a new spot. It's in the bottom right or the bottom left quadrant. And if I count 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3, 4, it actually is the same coordinate that I found originally. If I rotate again, now I'm at 180 degrees. And the point should now be at 4, negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It is. It's at that spot. And we'll rotate it one more time. And it should be at 3, 4. And if I'm looking at this like a normal graph, like as if this was the x and this is the y, then this is indeed 3, 4. So that's another route you can take, is to literally rotate your paper and then make note of what point you see after you do it. So let's take a look at these guys. So first of all, this one, make sure you pay attention to the prime symbols. This is your original because there's no primes on it, and this is our new one. Remember, you're always going this way. And you can kind of do it by quadrants almost. One quadrant is a 90-degree turn, 2 is 180, 3 is 270, and if it goes 4 quadrants all the way around, that's a 360 turn. So if I look at this first one, make sure you pay attention to the fact that the black is the original, blue is the new, so it's going like this. That would be a 270-degree counterclockwise turn. It's going 1, 2, 3 quadrants around. This one, the black one, is the original, and then the blue has all the prime symbols, so it's only going 1 turn around, which would be 90 degrees counterclockwise, and that's all it wants you to do here. Write a rule just means describe what's happening. This one's kind of tricky, but if you look, let's just pick one point. That B is going 1, 2 quadrants around, so that should be 180 degrees. And I could put counterclockwise, but it's not totally necessary because 180 degrees doesn't matter which way you do it. But make note, we always do counterclockwise. All right, so let's actually put it into practice. Now, I'm going to show the rule way and the rotation way for this one. You can decide how you want to do it for the next couple ones. So first thing says, find the coordinates of the vertices after each figure after the given transformation. This one we're doing 90. So first of all, start with writing out the rule. For 90 degrees, I believe it is negative y, x. Let's go back and just really double check. Good, it is. Okay. Wanted to make sure my memory wasn't being crazy. So let's start with writing our original points. J is at 1, 3. G is at negative 1, 1. And A is at 3, 1. Make sure you get those original points right, otherwise it messes up the whole process. So first of all, this rule tells me that the numbers are going to switch spots because it goes from xy to negative yx, and the first one is going to change its sign. So again, just start by switching the spots. So 3, 1 instead of 1, 3, 1, negative 1 instead of negative 1, 1, and 1, 3. Notice I haven't done anything with the signs yet, just switched them. Now all of the first numbers are going to change their sign. Remember, it's not just all become negative, it's all take the opposite sign. So 3 becomes negative 3, 1 becomes negative 1, 1 becomes negative 1. And there you have it. Those are your new rotated points. So J prime is at negative 3, 1 right there. G prime is at negative 1, oops, wrong spot, negative 1, negative 1. And A prime is at negative 1, 3. So this is J prime, G prime, A prime. And it looks correct. It looks like it's been one rotation turned to the left. Okay, and you can check because if I did it correctly, then when I rotate this picture, one turn that way. Should end up there. And it does. And those points all do actually match up. So again, you could do the page rotation way. If you're a little confused about that page rotation route, ask one of the teachers in the room. It's a little tricky to do on video. So try and ask one of the teachers who's available to help you with that one. Okay. So go ahead and pause right here. See if you can do the next two on your own, and then check back when you think you've got the correct answer. And I'll tell you, again, I'm just going to do it based on the rules way, not the page rotation way, because it's really hard to show that in a video. So go ahead and pause right here. Okay. So first of all, let's start with writing down the rules. I apologize if my voice is getting kind of cracky sounding. A little bit of a cold. So 180 is kind of a nice one. All you do is change the signs. You don't switch X or Y. You change both the signs and that's it. It's really nice. So B is originally at 4, 3. C is at 2, 0. And L is at 5, -2, it looks like. And it's really important to get those original points right, otherwise you mess up everything else. So all I'm going to do is do the opposite sign, so -4, -3 for B prime. C prime is -2, 0, doesn't have an opposite sign, so it's still 0. And L prime is -5, +2, because we switch both the signs. And then it's just a matter of plotting them. So B prime, -4, -3 right there. C prime, -2, 0. And L prime, -5, +2. So let me make sure I label this right. C prime, B prime, L prime, and connect my dots. And check it visually. Does it look like it's been rotated 180? Yeah, I'd say so. It's about 2 turns across the page. And there's my new picture. Last example, 270-degree rotation. First of all, make sure you check your rule. It's X comma Y goes to Y comma -X. Let's start with our original points. Hopefully that part was easy because you're literally just naming what you see there. E is at -2, 3. B is at 1, 0. D is at 1, -3. And L is at -4, -2. So if you messed up on those, make sure to correct it, because that obviously affected the rest of your work as well. This time, they're in different spots, so we're going to switch the numbers, then the second number changes its sign. So let's start with just switching all the numbers to get our new points. So 3, -2. No sign change yet, just switching the numbers. Instead of 1, 0, 0, 1, instead of 1, -3, -3, 1, and instead of -4, -2, we have -2, -4. The second one is going to get switched, so all of these numbers have to change their sign. So +2, -1, -1, +4. Boom, there's our new numbers. Let's plot them and check our picture. E prime is at 3, 2. E prime. B prime is 0, -1. Be careful with that point. We tend to get that wrong a lot. D prime, -3, -1. And L prime, -2, +4. And it's okay if they overlap. That's going to happen. It's 270 degrees, so it's going to overlap because it's 3 turns around the origin. Check gears, make sure it looks like that. Should be the same original shape, just rotate it around. Okay? If you've got questions, please feel free to check with one of the teachers. The key for the assignment is posted as well, so you can check on the station work that everybody else did.